everybody, Cindy Lynn here.
And Tony.
BridgeviewAdventures, and we appreciate everybody checking back in with us. We have a lovely Saturday morning here. Tony and I are doing a video before we get into work hot and heavy. We have a long list today, don't we, Tony?
Every day.
Yeah, Saturdays and weekends are usually the worst because, you know, we have the whole weekend to try to get things done. But it is the season. Tis the season for Cindy Lynn's hat. Summer.
The summer hat
is next weekend, so time for the hat. Though it's been pretty hot here. Okay, so in our video today, we are actually starting to get a lot of viewer questions, so we thought we would do a video, and we got this question here from Todd Biz Coach, and we appreciate the question, Todd. We decided to do a video about it, and what he is asking us is, could you please list the top 5 things that you did that were construction cost savers? And then could you also list the top 5 things that you would do differently up to this point? And boy, we have a lot of those, don't we? All right, well, let's just jump right into it. Okay, so the first 5 things that we're going to talk about are the top 5 things that you did that were construction cost savers. Well, I think the first big one would be to use any type of experience or skill set that you have, or the will to do it, or the will to save money, even if you don't have that experience. You have the will to take it on. So a couple of things that really saved us some big bucks were what? The septic system. Tony and I pretty much did ourselves.
There was two items that I had really never done before. I've never wired a house. You know, I've messed with a socket or two before, but I've never wired a house. And I wired this entire house, including the meter outside. And
the RV plug.
Yeah. And the septic system. You know, I'd never done a septic system. So that was 2 items that we tackled that we had no prior major experience with, that we just researched and did our homework and checked with the county and got information from them on what needed to be done and ran with it.
Well, I think that one of the reasons we wanted to do the septic, because we had no experience, is because that's one area where you can really save a lot of money. Yeah. We're talking $12,000 is probably what it was going to cost us to do it. And we already had the backhoe. That's another thing that you can do to save money is to buy the equipment that you need. So with the backhoe, we knew we would use it for what we needed it for and then sell it in the future. So that kind of helped us with the septic system as well. But we chose the things that we knew we could save a lot of money on as well. So one was the septic system, and like Tony said, he had never had any experience with that. Of course, I haven't. I was just basically his helper. But he did have to get special certifications for that. So he had the will to do it, the will to save money, and we figured we had the time.
And in our county, both of those items are inspected.
Yes.
So, you know, if you do mess up, the inspector is going to catch it. So that helps. So if you do something a little wrong, it's okay. The professional is going to catch it, let you know how to remediate it, and then you can fix it. So and that gives you that. That gives you that. Okay, I'm not going to burn my house down, or you know,
burn your house down doing something,
or flush it. No, that's electrical. Or flush it uphill, or whatever. So you know.
Well, and one extra tip for doing that, when you have the inspections, you can actually call them during the process. We did that with the sewer. Before we were done, we asked them to come out and check the process as we went along, so we didn't have to go back and like redo the whole thing. So they checked it in stages for us, and we did ask for that.
They were very understanding.
Yeah, so they have do-it-yourselfers quite a bit. Not that they necessarily like do-it-yourselfers, but...
Yeah, they weren't too...
It makes their job a little harder.
They were a little hesitant at the beginning, but you know.
Okay, so that's number one. Try to use your skill set to do what you can for building your own stuff. So number two. So this actually saved a lot of money too. So you want to get multiple quotes if you're going to be hiring a contractor. You need to get several because we saved quite a bit of money by doing this. A couple examples were
the foam.
Yes, the foam guys, we saved several $1,000s. I'm gonna see if I have it listed. It was over $2,000.
It was over $2,000. Yeah, you know, one was the big you know, the large city corporation that did it. And then we finally got contacted by the local person who does it in our local area. And the local guy was a lot cheaper. But you got to watch out on that too, because when we got to drywall, the not so professional local guy wasn't any cheaper than the professional company. So we went with the professional company on that, strictly for the insurances and you know,
because they were a bigger company.
They were a bigger company, and you know, figured that you know, they've been around a long time, so.
Right. And all the contractors we have gone with have done a good job. The only one we had issues with was the concrete flooring, and we did a separate video on that. But anything else as far as the contracting goes?
No, it's just that you need multiple bids. Yeah. And when you get multiple bids, it doesn't mean you go with the cheapest contractor either. That doesn't mean it's going to be, you know, you don't run for money every time. But when you get multiple people there, you get a feel for them. You know, you get a comfort, you know. Right.
And if you, another tip for that, we asked family and friends. So a couple of our quotes for drywall we had got from family members, and so recommended them. Yeah. So that really helps. So you use people, you know. You can also use like Angie's List, so you can see the ratings if they, you know, if they're on like a Facebook groups or anything like that, where you can ask for recommendations. That really helps a lot too.
Yeah.
So, all right, number 3, try not to change your mind once something is installed, because that's going to cost you money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a few, maybe small things. We had one window that we had no choice but to change. Right. So I don't know how much detail you want to give about that.
Because the inspector caught it. It didn't have enough square footage in it for fireman egress and things of that sort. And that was my mistake. I had originally put all of the big windows in when I turned it into the county. So he said, yeah, that's good to go. And I changed it later when we were talking with the builder. Oh, let's go with this size window because it fits good with the wainscoting, blah, blah, blah. Never even dawned on me that window was, you know, the whole egress thing, I didn't know.
So yeah, the window that was in there had to be completely ripped out, and we had to go buy a new one.
We already had the outside siding on and the whole 9 yards. So yeah.
Yeah, that, and there was some other small things too, but that's one helpful hint is try to make sure you have everything set in. So I mean, there's going to be things that happen, but that is one way that could save you money, is not having to go back and redo something or rip something out and that sort of thing. Oh my goodness, the memories. They're all coming back, all of these memories. Number 4. So I think we talked about this a little bit. You want to buy equipment or rent equipment that will allow you to save money to do the job yourself and then sell it afterwards. So like we said, one of the big purchases we did was we bought a backhoe because we knew we had to do a ton of work around here. We did the excavation ourselves. We did the sewer ourselves that we used. We use it for other things around here, clearing out trees and stumps and that sort of thing. So, and we know that it's an investment, and we're gonna resell it when we're done. So you wanna get the tools that you need for the job, and Tony can talk more about that. But
well, I mean, you know, if you're going to do a project, get the right tools. It makes such a difference. Not only in making the job easier, but the finish of it when you're done, it's a lot better. You know, tools is a big thing. You know, okay, I've got I have a drill and I can use that to do this or whatever, but my batteries have gone dead on mine before, and I went and grabbed the Milwaukee impact driver that the contractor had left on site, and I used it, and it was like the difference between night and day.
Yeah,
night and day. Granted, they're very, very expensive, but they're.
But they pay for themselves if you're really doing a lot of the work yourself, because I can't tell you how many times that Tony and I have talked about getting a tool to do the job right, and we end up getting the tool when the project is either completely done or almost done. We're like, why didn't we go ahead and spend the money to get this? It's like you already have it, so you don't want to spend the money, but sometimes time is saving money as well. So if it's gonna be a time saver, then that really helps get the job done too. And another thing I wanted to mention is as far as buying the tools for the job, you can rent equipment, but it is expensive, especially if you have to have them delivered. We'd had several things that we had delivered out here, and it's, oh my gosh, how much just for the delivery for big equipment?
It's $150.
Yeah, it's $150 just to have it delivered out here.
That's big. That's big
items.
That's a skid steer or something like that.
Right.
Because we don't have a pickup truck big enough to haul it, which you have to have at least a 3/4 ton pickup to pull it.
Yeah. So you can rent equipment, big or small. Some of the big box stores do it. I know Home Depot rents a lot of equipment out. But, I mean, if you're going to need it more than a few times, sometimes it's advantageous just to go ahead and buy it and try to resell it later. Because we have rented equipment before and then realized a few months down the road we need to rent it again. So that's one way to save money. And you can also use apps online. I know there's one called, there's a Mooch app where you have a list of people that you can swap tools and things like that with, so that would be something. Or we've borrowed several pieces of tools from family and friends. You have that tile cutter from a co-worker that he's used for
I swear I think
several houses.
I think he's used it one time when he did his house. I've borrowed it multiple times, and I know other people at work have borrowed it multiple times.
Yes.
So find out if somebody has some kind of an oddball tool like that. I bought the laser level to do the septic system, which was a godsend.
Halfway through it, though.
So if somebody needs it now, I've got one, so somebody can borrow it from me. With the stipulation, they got to know that if they bust it, they'll replace it.
Right. So and you can post stuff on social media. Hey, does anybody have this tool that you need? Or you could ask coworkers, families, and friends. We find a lot of stuff that way. We got our scaffolding through our son-in-law, who is a friend of a friend. I mean, it came like 3 friends over, people we didn't even know, but they're like, oh yeah, we have scaffolding, and we still have it.
The barn. You can have it, just bring it back when you're done.
We've had that for literally since last fall. So we probably need to be getting it back, but we've been needing it a little more. We have other ladders and stuff that we've borrowed. So a lot of our equipment is borrowed, and then we return it. So that's one option you have as well. All right, so I think we have one more here. Number 5. Well, we just touched on that. Ask family, friends, and coworkers for equipment that you need to borrow. Yeah, so we already touched on number 5. Social media is real good for that. We have several pieces of equipment that we have borrowed from family and friends. So that's
borrowing from somebody who's got tools, and that's nice. And I mean, granted, I've done a lot of woodworking and finagling through the years, so I have a lot of power tools, but mine aren't quite, mine aren't high end by any means, because it wasn't worth me buying high end stuff. But now, if one of mine breaks now, I go and buy the high end. So I'll buy the Harbor Freight one first because I was just a standard homeowner. But when that one breaks, I go and I buy a Rigid or a Milwaukee, because I know what it does and I'm going to need it, and and I have to level. But the stuff I want to break don't ever break. So
I know.
kind of
like my old minivan.
I love a Milwaukee or a Rigid, chop saw or table saw or something. But
you just might have to bite the bullet and go get you one.
I can't. Or my impact, my drills and drivers won't die. If they would die, I could go buy a Milwaukee set. But it's $800. It's just not. Mine does good. I mean, my impacts are good.
Yeah.
The key is buy quality tools.
Yes.
They'll last forever or long time. If you buy Harbor Freight tools, you're going to get Harbor Freight quality.
Right. And they're probably not going to last through your whole project.
And our material for inside is the same between buying it at a discount lumber place like a Menards compared to a Home Depot or Lowe's. The quality, they're the same. They are same products, but the quality is just a smidge better in the Home Depot, Lowe's, and then you'll have more of contractor grade lumber companies, which we use one out of Jeffersonville for certain things. We order some doors from them. Theirs is just that much better than the Home Depot Lowe's version. So that's the main reason why you'll find contractors going to the higher end places, because the products are just that much better.
Oh, I know one thing I was going to mention about borrowing equipment from family and friends. So if you do borrow equipment, make sure that you return it in top-notch shape to them.
Right. We
try to do that, make sure it's clean. Don't return it dirty, full of dust or mud or whatever.
When I use the wet saw for tile work or whatever, I buy a brand new blade.
Yes.
And I give them a brand new blade, still in the pack. I don't put it on. I give him one in the pack. I burn up the one that's on it as long as it's still cutting.
Yeah.
And I hand him a new one or whatever. He's probably got a stack of them.
Yeah, because if you borrow someone's equipment, you don't want to use their stuff and ruin a blade and return it to them like that, especially for them letting you use it.
Or we give gift
free of cost.
Or we send it back with a gift card to somewhere to eat. Or well, I mean, look where we live. We've given away several bottles of liquor, so.
Yeah, people's helped us with stuff, and we usually repay them in a whiskey bottle.
Of whiskey. Goes a long way.
And we've rented our equipment out to people too. We have a car trailer that we rented out, and someone drugged the wire on the ground.
Yeah, the wire plug actually drug or whatever.
Yeah, they replaced the whole wire kit for us.
He noticed it and replaced it.
We were very appreciative.
And he didn't buy the cheap one either. He went into the store and he found one, and it was only $15. And he's like, "You got anything better?" And he replaced it with a lot better one. So, I mean, that's the way you do it.
Okay.
Bonus, bonus, bonus!
It's your lucky day.
Today only! Come on down!
Not only are you getting 5 construction saving tips, Tony and I are adding 2 bonuses just for you. So, actually, we left out some kind of important.
Right, I had mentioned that, quality of stores as far as things between a Menards and a Home Depot and a local supplier. I kind of mentioned that, but one thing you also got to watch out for is the specials that different lumber yards will have. And frankly, Menards has 11% off right now all the time, but they have it periodically. So if you need to buy lumber, wood is pretty much
or any big items really.
It's there you have a definite asset of getting your 11% off, and then you get a certificate that you can go back and buy all the other stuff. So we got a lot.
Some of our big purchases, one of the biggest one was we got all of our interior doors there. So we got a several $100 check back. Now you have to use it in the Menards store, so you have to go back there to buy other stuff, but that was a pretty big cost saver up for us, because we could go back and get other bigger items, because we would get that certificate in the mail. We'd be like, oh, okay.
And all the stone. We bought all the stone.
That's right. We did the stone too. Yeah. So that's a good tip, to use 11% off. Also, a lot of the stores will have interest free for 12 to 18 months. So you can take advantage of that.
And you can get construction project loans.
Yes.
At certain loans. Lowe's and Home Depot will have construction loans, so they go a little bit higher. Those will have interest. They won't be the interest free for 6 months or 12 months, but you can stretch those out to like 4 years.
Yeah, so that's helpful. And then the second bonus tip, which is our biggest one actually, is if your county regulations allow you to, is to live on the land while you're building. I know it's not possible for everyone, but that's what we're doing. If some of you are new to our channel, we actually live in our motorhome. We've been here almost a year. It'll be a year in August. When we sold our house, we moved into an apartment, and that was basically $1,200 a month without utilities. So we're saving that at least monthly to put, right back into the house. We already had the motorhome anyway, so but you wouldn't need a motorhome. You could use a regular travel trailer. They're a lot cheaper.
Yep.
So that's one of our highest money saving costs for us while we're building the pole barn. So, but just wanted to add those 2 bonus rounds in for you.
Also, some things you can watch out for is holiday specials.
Yes.
I know Home Depot and Lowe's, Home Depot and Lowe's, like on cabinetry, they'll have 30% off periodically. So just go in and ask them about when it's coming. It's usually once a month, so you can save a huge saving right there. Also, Memorial Day, 4th of July. Those
are the big ones.
We're fixing to buy appliances, and we're actually considering waiting to see if they have 4th of July specials. It's going to push us back with delivery on our all of our kitchen, but
that's okay. We're probably going to be delayed anyway.
Yeah.
And you can bundle appliances, bundle certain things, and it if you can bundle them, it saves you even more. So, well, those are your 2 extra bonus tips. Okay, we're into part 2 of the questions from Todd. And Todd, again, thank you for sending these questions through. If anyone else has any questions about our pole barn build, leave them in the comments or check us out on Instagram. You can ask us questions on there, and if we don't answer you there, then we'll do a video on it, possibly. So, all right, could you list the top 5 things that you would do differently up to this point?
Number 1.
We know what number 1 is.
Windows.
Oh my gosh, we would upgrade the windows, wouldn't we?
Well,
that's a no-brainer.
She wants more windows.
No, I want upgraded ones too.
But yeah, we wouldn't have went with like an off-the-shelf window from the big box stores.
It is Pella, but they're like the contractor, the lowest grade window they have, basically. They're like $150 a piece or something like that. So
yeah, $150, $200 a piece. I think.
Yeah. So we would have upgraded to probably nicer windows. I wouldn't have mind just having like one big window. Those are more expensive than getting the separate ones. And then a few more. We have a couple inside. We have one transom window on this side, but that one doesn't have one, so it doesn't really match. And then, I don't know. I might have put a window in the closet on that side. If I had to redo it. I don't know. And then one thing that I would definitely have changed is the color. So having black windows would be cool. We do have the black garage doors, but I think the black windows would have looked awesome. But let me tell you, they're way more expensive, and that's the reason we didn't go with them. But hindsight, in the big picture, I think the cost would have been worth it for the look. So I probably would have changed to the black windows. So yeah. Let's see. Well, plus, if you do a higher grade window, that actually saves you money in the long run.
In the long run, because these will probably end up being replaced a lot quicker.
Yeah, because of the ratings, they hold in the insulation better and everything.
Yeah, so now we put spray foam in, so we've got super efficient walls and
not super efficient windows. So windows. I know I said it before.
And doors. But we got
the doors are good. Yeah, it's just the windows we would upgrade. So number 2 is do more work yourselves. Or ourselves.
There was a couple items
that we could have done.
We would end up doing ourselves. And in history, looking back in my life, there's 2 items that I've contracted out that both times after it was done, I just shook my head and I said I should have done it myself.
I know what it is.
And they were both concrete. So
yeah.
No offense to concrete people, but
yeah.
I
think we just picked the wrong contractors for that or something. But yeah, you can do more work yourselves. Time allow. Like, we're pretty busy here. We couldn't fit in a lot more, but maybe a few things. We definitely could have stained the floor or painted the floor ourselves, the concrete floor on the inside. We've been going around and around with that, and we actually would have had time to do that this winter.
Oh yeah.
But it was just one fiasco after another with it, and we ended up having to get another contractor to sand it down. If we would have done it from the beginning, it would have been fine, and that would have saved a ton of money.
Right. Most all the stuff we've contracted though was stuff that we just did not want to take.
Yes.
I do not want to touch drywall. Could have done drywall.
No, definitely not drywall.
Yeah, I could have done drywall. I don't want to do drywall. It's nasty. It's dusty.
Time consuming.
And the ceiling in the great room is too high to try to get up there and put, no. I mean, me and my brother could have done it, but it wouldn't have been fun.
Yes.
And, yeah, I don't think nearly the quality of the work wouldn't have been there. And painting for the exact same reasons. Too high, it's too this.
Yes.
And the professionals they just do a good job.
They do. And it's mainly the ceiling with the paint. The ceiling with the painting, the drywall and the painting, the ceiling was just going to be too much. So we decided to contract those out. And I don't like painting. So
she ain't allowed to have a trim brush in her hand. So
he doesn't like
I'll
the way
give her
I
a
trim.
roller. No trim brush.
Why? Just because I get it all over the ceiling? No, I'm better now. I used to be worse than I am now.
Get it done, get it done, get it done.
All right. So try to do the work yourself if possible. All right. So the next one, number 3, is try not to rush or get in a hurry because it can cause you to cut corners. Well, one example was when we did the excavation ourselves, and the Amish was wanting to start, and we had to get it done. So we would have liked to level the land out in the area just a little more than we did, but we kind of had to stop where we did so they could go ahead and get everything started with the pole barn. So
we didn't have the laser level then.
Yes,
the
we
really
had a
good one.
cheap one.
So that made it harder.
Yes.
And well, we kept making the barn bigger.
Yeah, we did make the barn, and it moved a few times.
So it kept moving out and moving out. Well, then at the far end of the barn, the excavation tapered down. So it's there was a lot of backfill in that spot. So.
Well, actually, our barn was supposed to be one level too, but because we didn't get the other end excavated and level as much, we actually have a step down into our garage section from the living quarters. So that's one thing that it caused from us trying to be in a rush. So hindsight, we would like to redo that and maybe have another month and have a nice level to get everything, which goes back into having the right tools. So, all right, let's see. Number 4. Well, one thing we would have done different is the grass. So trying to get grass sooner, because we've had mud out here for months on end.
We did do the one side.
One side, yes.
Before winter got here, because you know, we wanted it done. We didn't want to, you know, trample through mud all year. So one side got grass on it. The rest of the
front and the side, yes.
You know, but the backhoe just doesn't move mounds of dirt very well. I don't have teeth on the bucket, and it's a slow mover. That's why we got the skid steer that one weekend, and we knocked it out in one weekend with the skid steer. But I don't have a skid steer, had to rent it. So
well, that goes back into some things you might want to hire out for that. Hindsight, I think it's such a big job, and we have, you know, so if you have a small plot of land, it's a lot easier. You can do it in one weekend. That's why we only did one side of the house. The rest of it, I would have just liked to hire somebody to do that and get it done early on instead of us waiting almost a whole year. I mean, our pole barn was built a whole year before we got the rest of the grass in. It's just been mud and dirt basically the whole year and all winter. So some things you do need to contract out to help things get done. So let's see. And then the last thing is consulting things before and during the design phase and not after. We didn't have an architect when we were designing this, so yeah, Tony designed most of it. We had a few changes here and there with my approval or disapproval. We didn't have to have an architect in our county, so I think they would have caught some of the issues. So do you want to talk about the HVAC?
HVAC is what caught me. I really didn't even think about it. I don't know why. It never even crossed my mind. I kind of had thought of the plan I would do on it, but when it came down to time, and after I got some HVAC contractors out here, they either didn't want to touch it or were at a loss of how to do it. And I was like, really? So I didn't give it nearly the thought that it probably needed.
Well, so, that's because, I mean, we don't normally do stuff like that. Right. You know, we were just concerned over, like, the floor plan that we liked and not some of the finer details.
Well, we don't have a basement.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a, normally your HVAC and blower unit is in a basement. Well, you can run ductwork anywhere in the basement along along the floorboards, and then pop them up where you need them. It's not a big deal. We're on a slab, so none of it could go in there. And generally speaking, we don't have an attic to speak of, so that complicates things.
Yeah, and they originally wanted to put the whole system in our master closet. We have a walk-in closet, and it is pretty big, and I'm like, no, it's not going in the closet. So their first inclination was to put it in the closet. I'm like, we're gonna have to come up with another plan, because that's gonna literally take up about 1/4 of the closet. And
the sound. We didn't
want the sound, and then if there's any leaks, you know, we've had leaks with ours before, dripping and that sort of thing, and I'm like, that's just not gonna work out. But they ended up putting it in the garage section. So but he had to have an engineer for that to figure it out, didn't he?
Yeah. So, they ran the numbers on it.
Yeah, they consulted, you know, on their end, their company, and figured that out. So,
but if you hire a design firm or have an architect sign your drawings off, just make sure they have an HVAC plan. Along with the, you know, you'll get an electrical, you'll get a concrete footer plan, a concrete plan. You'll get a framing plan. You know, there's some of them. You get a plumbing, electrical, and HVAC. It covers all of them.
So, hindsight, would you think you would have hired an architect for the money? They run anywhere from $800 to $1,200 generally for architect plans, right?
Depending on how many drawings they give you. So I'm not sure how many you get with that. Most banks will require you to have drawings, and I've drawn a lot of drawings for people for them to get their loans to turn into the banks for the loans. A lot of the builders, they don't care. They just run it where they want to run it. They actually don't want to be told where to run the piping and all that stuff. They do it themselves. But you know, to get a full set of plans would probably be fairly expensive, just for the drafting time and the drafting hours.
Yeah, but I would say it worked out. It worked out for us in the end, you know, but there's those headaches in there because people coming out being like, where are we going to put this? And then not wanting to do that. It did cause some problems and headaches at first.
I was getting scared for a while there.
Yeah, we didn't know if we were going to be able to have AC or not, or even, well, we have a heated floor, so we had that, you know.
I thought we were going to have to go with the mini splits.
Oh, is that where they just put the single unit like above the doors, like when you go on vacation, they have them in?
Called mini splits.
Yeah. So that's just a few of our recommendations. I'm sure we have a lot more as well, but that's the top 5 that we could think of. So, Todd, I hope that was very helpful for you, and we do appreciate your question. We do most of these videos just for other people that's considering doing stuff yourself. DIY projects, if you're building a pole barn or a house yourself, you know, maybe we can give you some helpful tips in there.
We don't try not to do too much of step-by-step stuff because
it's just too much.
I ain't a pro.
Right.
I'm just a Joe. So
the average Joe.
You know, I just want you to see that, hey,
you can do it.
We're doing this. You can do it. You know, go on YouTube
with research.
Look it up. Watch a bunch of videos. Watch the pros who have how-tos.
True.
And then tackle it.
That's a good tip.
Try to, you know, do it in an inconspicuous area first.
Yeah. If you have the desire to do it and the desire to save money, you definitely can do it. Yeah. So get out there and get your projects done, guys.
Not rocket science. You ain't building a space shuttle.
So BridgeviewAdventures appreciates you tuning in as always. We do appreciate your comments as well. We appreciate our subscribers, and if you haven't considered subscribing, we ask you to do that just so we know, hey, there is people out there watching our videos and we're not doing it for nothing here. Well, we do it for us so we can look back as a kind of a video diary, but we like when other people leave comments as well. So you guys have a fantastic day, and we'll see you out there. Take care, guys.